Our first presenter is Jim Rogers, CEO for Apex Biologix. And Jim, you can take it away.
Perfect. Thank you, Drew. And I assume you can hear me okay, Drew? Perfect. Let me go ahead and open up my screen and just do a quick check that you folks can all see my screen. Okay. Can you see the screen in full, please?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. All right. So as Drew said, my name is Jim Rogers. I'm CEO for Apex Biologic. Thank you to the MSK Innovation Group as well as the distinguished panelists for having us on today. And certainly excited to tell you a little bit more about our company here at Apex Biologic. Our focus is exclusively in the autologous therapy market. And with that, I will proceed. So what is autologous cell therapy? So for those of you that are familiar with it, I apologize in advance for going through this, but for those that are not, it's a medical treatment that involves using the patient's own cellular makeup to treat different various diseases and conditions. It's part of the broader regenerative medicine industry. Source of cells come from harvesting, such as blood, bone marrow, adipose, fat tissue, and sometimes skin. As far as why we are in this market in particular is if you look across the broader spectrum of the healthcare markets, you'll see that most are still operating at a single-digit compounded annual growth rate. One of the unique things about the PRP market or the platelet-rich plasma market that we're part of in the larger autologous cell therapy market is both those markets in particular are growing at a 2x to 3x multiple of most markets within the healthcare space. As far as how we play within this fast-growing market, when we talk about autologous cell therapy, one area is called the stem cell transplantation or the HSCT part of the market, which we don't participate in. Second part of that cell therapy is the MSC therapy, which is the mesenchymal cell stem cell therapy market, which we absolutely do participate in through the bone marrow concentrate product here at Apex. Second area is the platelet-rich plasma market or the PRP market. We have two specific products that address that market. And the third area in which we participate is the adipose tissue-derived therapy market, which we have a product called microfragmented adipose tissue. You can see the additional markets that make up this autologous cell therapy market that we, at this point, do not participate as part of. When you look at the broader part of our product portfolio and the three that we'll talk about today, you'll see a benchtop processing system, a protein concentrator, and adipose tissue. I'll spend a few seconds talking about each one of those specific products and how we differentiate ourselves within the marketplace. The first product, which is called the benchtop processing system, this is the product that really put us on the map back in 2022. We participated in something called the MedTech Accelerator Program. In fact, that's how I met Charlie, who's one of our panelists here on the call. Through that MedTech Accelerator Program, they recognized the specific benefits and differentiation of our system in being able to harvest 7 to 9 times baseline concentration of growth factors. And that was specifically based on our 510(k) application that was submitted for approval. Those concentrations become very important when it comes to outcomes or patient outcomes, specifically with patient with orthopedic injuries or osteoarthritis, perhaps chronic sports injuries. And this can be validated through a association that is kind of the educational arm of our space called the Biologix Association. They currently have something called the BARB study. They've used a significant amount of our products looking at not only the concentration levels in the baseline, but most importantly, knowing that concentrations lead to better outcomes and responders. And so that's where that specific 7 to 9 times baseline comes. This, as I mentioned, with Mayo Clinic, selecting us in this cohort, that also entered us into a collaboration with the Mayo Clinic for future design. So this was a really important launch for at least the Apex brand. The second product that is truly the differentiator right now is a product that we call our protein concentrator. Along with use of platelet-rich plasma, there are some incredible proteins that, if harvested, can be incredibly impactful for patients. With this technology, it allows us to remove the majority of fluid out of what we call the platelet-poor plasma. We get a high concentration of something called A2M, which helps greatly with preventing further cartilage loss for those that are looking towards surgical intervention, specifically candidates that might be for hip, knee, or shoulder replacement. And we get additional proteins, highly sought after proteins, one in particular called IL-1RA, which assists with pain reduction. And so this product can be used great for osteoarthritis, orthopedic injuries, and again, chronic sports injuries. But you'll also see some other growth areas such as aesthetics, interventional pain, wound care, and sexual wellness, and a few others that this can be used in. The last product that we're very excited about right now, and we will be introducing at the TOBY conference later this month, is our newest product called MFAT, which stands for microfragmented adipose tissue. The advantage of MFAT is similar to bone marrow aspirate. It's concentrating stem cells. And within this MFAT has traditionally a higher concentration because when you use bone marrow aspirate, you unfortunately have to work with the patient's age as well. So for some of those patients that are a little bit older, which are more likely the patient population to have OA, MFAT can be fantastic for these stage 3, stage 4 because of these stem cells or these high concentrations of stem cells. As you'll see in this bullet point, our product in particular has the highest concentration of these nucleated cells, and that was based on data submitted by Joint Tech Labs for FDA submission. Again, we're going to be launching this a little bit later this month at TOBY. One, validation of our incredible technology here at Apex is looking at our physician adoption. When you look at the regenerative medicine market, or specifically if you look at the autologous therapy market, two main associations tend to be the educational arms for this market. One such association is called the Biologix Association, which came out in 2018 by some world-renowned sports medicine surgeons who wanted a unified voice within this regenerative medicine industry. Those individuals in particular, all sports medicine based, very established physicians across the U.S., all three of those, Dr. Bert Mandelbaum, Dr. Jason Dragoo, and Dr. Ken Zasloff, have joined our team as KOLs, or key opinion leaders. Not only have they seen the benefits of our specific technologies, they certainly want to get behind them. The other association called Interventional Orthopedics Foundation, the outgoing president is Dr. Ariana Demers. She has recently joined us, leading IOF to become our chief educational officer. So when you see the leaders of the educational arms of regenerative medicine, and the majority of them, of the leadership groups joining our company, I think it shows what our technology is all about, and we're very, very proud to have them. When you look at what's happening from a growth perspective with our company, we're seeing incredible growth. You'll notice this graph you see is from 2022 and then 2023 since the change of management. In January of 23, I took over, hired some very influential people. We've had incredible growth, which you can see by that steady increase on the screen. In that blue line, you'll see the year-over-year growth percentages, and you'll see the majority of them very close, if not surpassing triple digits, month over month. In total, when you look at our growth, you'll see in the last 15 months since January 23rd when we took over, 109% growth year over year, trailing 12 months at 114% growth. When you look at our projections as we move forward based off of our healthcare expertise or physicians within their area of healthcare with their expertise, as well as our products, you'll see expected year-over-year growth rates that are substantial for our company as we move forward. In 2023, we had 6.2 million, or about 101% growth. In 2024, we're expecting just north of 11 million, or about 80% growth. You'll see a big movement in growth in 2025. That's due to two specific things. Number one is the launch of our MFAT product, and secondly, a very strategic partnership with a publicly traded company that would like to have access to our technologies. And then you can continue reading the additional growth rates expected all the way through 2029, which is 83 million, which would be about 6.6% of the projected PRP market. When you look at EBITDA, you'll see, again, we intend on being profitable in 2025 and significantly profitable by 2029. When asked how that's possible and how these growth rates are going to be sustained, again, this looks a little bit like a Skittles box, and so I apologize for that in advance. But if you just kind of look at the color coding, what you'll basically see is in the latter part of 2023 and this early part of 2024 is where we've been really layering our direct sales team. So anything green is direct sales. All of these blue is physician support. These are physicians across the U.S. in different specialties that have joined in in different ways to support our brand, including participating in webinars and conferences and peer-to-peer selling. And so you'll see a lot of our growth, even though it has been pretty much straight line up. You'll see our growth is really expected on the back end as we've launched this direct sales team. My background, for those of you that aren't as familiar, I've spent about 25 years in the industry. I've been with 3 companies. I've been very fortunate to have been number one in every company we've been with, meeting Stryker Instruments as a leader in the instrumentation arena, Wright Medical is the number one foot and ankle company, and then Medical Sales College is the number one company in orthopedic sales and training. Within that, I've been very fortunate to have hired a great team, worked with some incredible leaders to take, as an example, Wright Medical, an $18 million revenue to about $1 billion that was acquired from Stryker for 5, and worked as a consultant for many other leading device manufacturers in commercialization and scaling their revenues. Lastly, a couple highlights before question. Again, we're in the fastest growing segment of the device market at almost 20%. Apex has the most experienced management team in the autologous therapies. We have the only focused direct sales team right now that we added in 2024 that differentiates us on our competitors. Industry-leading PRP system, protein concentrator, absolutely explosive growth, 760% last year. Industry-leading MFAT, number one physician KOL team, number one physician education, multiple IP projects underway, and we have multiple large-scale medical device companies that have reached out to us about acquiring or distributing our technology. Series B round, we're looking for a $5 million capital raise. You can kind of see the financial assumptions there on the screen. We had the use of funds will be continued expansion of the direct sales channel. Strategic partnerships are going to call for increase in inventory. Our launch of our microfragmented adipose tissue, our expansion of our advisory team for some physician training, and then, of course, operating expenses with our surging demand.
Jim, if I can interrupt you just
Yep.
now, you managed to use about 12 minutes of your 5.5 minutes. So I got to pause you right here.
And I'm done.
Just open it up to our panelists to ask you questions, and they try to keep your answers to very short, single-word answers.
Yes, and sorry about the expiration of time, Drew.
That's
Adam,
fine.
you want to go first?
Sure. So, Jim, you tell a great story, and it's certainly an exciting space to be in and whatnot. Can you give us a little bit more color, and without trying to get too crazy into your IP and whatnot? You cite things like you've got 7 to 9 times more concentration and those sorts of things. What makes your technology different? What's the secret sauce without getting too nuts on it? What?
Yeah. So the main differentiator with that is the way that the PRP is processed, what we call bottom up. Most processes, you have to go into the PRP from top down with some kind of device to try to get the cells out. Ours literally dials with that benchtop press, and it moves it upwards, and that's one of the reasons why we have higher cell counts.
Got it. And you have IP protection around that?
Yeah, there's IP around that. Yes, in the U.S. and outside the U.S.
That's a method patent, probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then if I was listening to you correctly, it sounded like your protein concentrator and then also your upcoming fat one were both targeting OA. Is that correct?
Yeah. So the main thing about the protein concentrator, and again, why that's so highly differentiated and sought after, is there are 2 proteins, A2M protein, which is what slows down the degradation of cartilage, and then potentially some additional platelet concentration. And we've shown that there's some IL-1RA that slows down the inflammation process. So those 2 things are great for patients at stage 1, stage 2 that want to prolong the necessity of surgical intervention while providing doctors an income that pays them similarly to what they would get doing a joint replacement. So it almost lets a physician kind of double dip.
So what's the fat one doing versus that? Is that
Yeah,
later
the fat's better for stage 3, stage 4 because it has stem cell concentration. So where there's no more cartilage and you're looking at elongating and relieving pain, those nucleated cells are going to help with that. And then in the aesthetics market is the huge one for fat, where they use synthetics now for fillers and lip injections and other areas. The longevity of what fat stays versus synthetics is 2 to 3 times as long. And so there will be a huge market for the aesthetics within the adipose tissue.
Thank you.
But you're not working in the aesthetic space, is that right, Jim? Right now?
We are not yet, but what we
Yep.
do actually, Gary, when it relates to PRP with hair restoration and PRP for vampire facials. But in conjunction with that, we'll make a much larger focus now that we have a fat product.
The only question I think I have, just to make sure we get back on track time-wise, might just be on the distribution side. So you're probably following a playbook that you've had some success with at your prior companies, both at Wright, Stryker, et cetera,
Yeah.
of how to build a sales organization to sell products like this. But, you know, most of it sounds like it's direct, but is there anything through the distributor side? And tell us just a little bit more on that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, right now we're about 25% commercial, where we work with, entity wellness clinics that buy directly from us. We're about 25% in distribution. We're about 25% in wholesale. And we're about 25% in direct sales. The best margins are in direct, and that's why we're trying to transition into direct. That's the same model that I put together when I created the direct sales force for Wright Medical. We went from 100% distribution to almost 100% direct, and that's what really gave us the exit value in the growth strategy and the growth rates at Wright.
That's
Right.
great.
What's the gross margin on the products?
Gross margins right now are on a direct size is 66.3%.
Okay.
All right. Well, we are
That's
out.
impressive, Jim. Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim. Really appreciate that.